Can you dig it, sucker?
Live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. Join the 6-time World Heavyweight Champion, 2-time WWE Hall of Famer, and WWE NXT announcer, Booker T. Booker T. Alongside his right-hand man, the Boat, Brad Gilmore. It's time to get your champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. Now, can you dig that?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me as always. I just made Charlo with rings today. I want to make this a very, very special day because we're coming off a big weekend, man. Reality wrestling debuted our new arena, and I must say, man, it was an awesome time. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be back here, ESPN 975-925. I'm excited to be here with Brad. I'm excited about everybody stepping inside the Hall of Fame today, getting your champagne wishes. Oh yes, and caviar dreams. But Brad, how you feel, man? Before I even ask how you feel, I tell you, Sunday after the show, I was wiped out all day. I didn't move. I think I had a serious endorphin dump. You know what I mean? Everything just left me. And all day Sunday, I was like, man, why can't I move? Jermell was the same way. She could not move at all. And it was all due to trying to get ready for that one big night, trying to get ready for that 7 o'clock bell time. And I want to thank everybody who came out to Reality of Wrestling on Saturday night, showed up and showed out. We had a sold-out, packed-out house. If you haven't seen the photo that's been circulating around on social media, on the internet, guys, check it out, man, because Reality Wrestling, stand up, big time. How you feel, dog?
I was like you. I woke up the next day, and I was, actually, it's not even I woke up the next day. This is a real story. At about 4:15 Sunday morning, I woke up, right, and I looked at the clock. It was 4:15, and I'm not joking, Book. I go, we did it. And then I went back to sleep, because I too, there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into the pre-production of Saturday night. But those show days on Saturday, as soon as we got to the arena, about 1 o'clock, I did not stop. You did not stop. Kevin Bernhardt did not stop. Charmel, the whole support staff did not stop. Literally up into the minutes before the first bell rang off. There was always a lot going on in those shows, and I really want to give a big shout out to not only the whole crew, the staff, the roster, the locker room, but like you said, Book, this show is all about it, and Reality Wrestling's all about it. I got to give a big shout out to all the people, because I walked out to our little side curtain to sit at our booth, and I looked out. I said, damn, it's pretty packed in here. There wasn't not a chair anywhere. And here's the other thing I'm going to say. Here's the other thing I want to say is this is, I guess, it's the third gym that we've had since I've been a part of Reality Wrestling. I know y'all had one in downtown before. This is our second arena. And we did a lot of great stuff in the World Gym Arena, had a lot of great moments, a lot of great matches. But when I tell everybody that this setup it's literally ideal for what we're doing, it feels like TV. It feels like an actual television show as soon as you walk in. I've been to the Tonight Show and things like this, and this is the level that this is at from a feel standpoint. It feels like you're in a studio audience. So just shout out to everybody who made it happen. It was awesome. This is my favorite place we've ever had a wrestling show.
Yeah, heck yeah. And main event, Axiom versus Charlie Dempsey, 2 NXT stars. They came in and they really shocked and amazed. From the beginning to the end of that match, they had me on the edge of my seat. I mean, it started out, like a slow boil, and then it got, bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, guys, slow down, please. I need to get y'all back to work safe. Because my thing is, I'm always thinking safety first, and these guys was literally laying everything out there and giving 110% at a reality of wrestling show. Of course, these guys work on television on a weekly basis, but they work just as hard at reality of wrestling than they would on the main roster. So I want to give those two guys big props, and I learned a whole lot watching them, as well as my students should have been taking notes as far as that match goes, because it was a master class. It really was a master class as far as the inner workings of going out there and knowing how to. You don't even have to know how to. Speak the same language. It's universal when you do it like that. It's unbelievable.
They went out and put on a clinic. 20 plus minutes, main event. There was not a person in the house that left early. This wasn't like you were going to a baseball game with the Astros as of late, right? This was something you wanted to stay to the very end and see how this was going to turn out. And, big ups to Axiom and Charlie Dempsey on all facets. We had to do some pre-tape stuff with them. They were great. In the ring, they were great. The moments, the little things, just phenomenal. Had a great match. And I want to give a shout-out, to somebody here in the chat who was there, one of our channel members who was in the chat and came down for the show, Turfa, who said every match was a bona fide thriller. He said also he said every spot and location in the venue had optimal seating everywhere, and I got me a Row Is Now shirt too. So we appreciate you, Turfa.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We appreciate the love. But I ain't gonna lie to these kids. I ain't gonna lie to them. A couple of them had a couple of stinkers out there. They know who they are. They know who they are. They won't be working for the next couple of months. But that's the way it is. You live and you learn. It's like trial by fire, trial and error. I think that's the way you can. That's the only way you're gonna learn in this business, by going out and making mistakes. I get that, but until you correct those mistakes, it could be a bumpy ride. So guys, girls, make sure you get it right.
Get it right, get it tight, as they say in the rap world. But yeah, here's the thing too, though. What's great though is to have a learning experience and have that ground and have that immediate feedback. Because this is what a lot of people, I guess, who maybe have never been to an independent show outside of reality wrestling don't know. 99% of the time, when you walk back through a curtain at an indie show anywhere in the world, you walk by the promoter or the timekeeper, whomever sitting there, and you walk past him. You know what they say, Book? Great match.
Good match.
Good match. Hell of a job, kid.
Even if they didn't watch it, they say.
What do you mean even? They didn't see it. They're over there counting the money, trying to figure out how they can take it.
Trying to get out the back door. But most of the time, even if they do watch it, they're not watching it because they don't know what they're looking at.
Yeah. But so what I'm saying is it's great to have that at reality wrestling where you can come back, you get that instant feedback, but you also say stuff. Actually, I don't want to give too much behind the scenes, but it is cool to get that instant feedback. And so shout out to all of them. Some of them, felt like the Miami Dolphins after Saturday night, and some of them felt like the Broncos after Saturday night. But you know what? You don't take it home with you.
The Broncos, they know who they are too. No, and the thing is, I'm not going to, sugarcoat it or anything like that. I'm not going to say something that I don't really, really mean. And the reason I do that is I don't want to lie to these guys. I want to make sure they understand that in this business, you got to be better than the guys standing across from you. You watch the guys on the roster. You know if you can compete with these guys, the ones that's working near the main event. You know that in your own heart. But a lot of these kids, sometimes they want to lie to themselves. But they can rest assured that I'm not going to lie to them. I'm going to tell them the truth every single time. If they got to get back in the gym and work on their craft, they need to do that. But they need to do it diligently. A lot of guys, I always talk about reality of wrestling as far as a lot of guys make it, a lot of guys don't. A lot of guys would rather go somewhere else because they don't want to be told that they're not better than everybody else that's on the roster. So it's not Pop Warner. It's not everybody get a trophy at Reality of Wrestling. We're looking for the best wrestlers, but we're looking for the guys and the girls that's going to push themselves, even when they don't have the athletic ability to be able to go out there and compete from that perspective. And I always look back on one of my prized pupils by the name of Gustavo Mendoza. He's one of the best, that I've ever coached, that I ever had a chance to train. And this kid couldn't do a front roll, side roll, back roll, or anything, but he was better than everybody on the card for about 1 year straight. He was the Reality of Wrestling champion. And I'm looking for guys, not just that are athletic. I'm looking for guys that are smart. We talked about the honky tonk man. People can say this, they can say that. But the honky tonk man was one of the greatest WWE superstars that ever lived. I don't know why my mouth got like that, but it made me want to talk about honky tonk like that. But he was one of the great.
All I can say is that honky could work.
We got to take a break. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. Oh, man. Hey, man. There's a couple of things I want to talk about here inside the Hall of Fame today. And one of them is stuff I really never like talking about old stuff. You know that.
Right.
But one thing, we're going to be going to Bakersfield here in just a couple of days with NXT. Looking forward to it. And it's going to be a place where kind of like near and dear to my heart, because that's where the Green Frog incident went down with Stone Cold Steve Austin and I, the infamous grocery store fight. And one thing about moments like that, they're like iconic moments. They're like those, life-lasting moments. And the thing is, when Steve and I was doing that, we wasn't thinking about that. We were just thinking about going out there and, having some fun, creating some magic, hopefully, for that one night, not knowing that it was going to last throughout the history and the annals of times of wrestling. But that's what wrestling has been built on. Of course, there again, NXT is going to be going there this weekend. I can't wait to get there. You and I were going to be in Vegas. But on top of that, another moment, the main event Mafia in TNA. I was looking on Twitter, on X, and somebody had pretty much they did like a big synopsis pretty much on that night, the night that main event Mafia took over TNA. And the thing is, I didn't really realize how funny that night was. I really didn't. So I went back and watched some of those moments. And man, we took over the whole show. I mean, I did commentary all night. It was the stupidest. It was the stupidest thing in the world. And what's really, really cool about that moment, just like with Steve and I in the grocery store, we didn't really plan anything out. We didn't talk about a whole lot. We just action go. We knew our route, and that was pretty much some of our route. And that's pretty much it. As far as verbiage, none of that. We just, whatever just came out. And the same thing with Kevin and I doing the Chet Lemon and Black Snow. I didn't know he was going to be Chet Lemon until he started doing Chet Lemon. And he didn't know I was going to be Black Snow until I started doing Black Snow. None of it was planned. None of it had any real direction other than me knowing the run sheet and the matches and when Jermell was going to be coming up. Of course, I had somebody in my ear. But to see me actually doing, Vic Joseph's job, it was funny as hell. And I was pretty good. I was pretty good at it. That's what's even scarier, because I always tell people in those moments, I really don't know what I'm doing. I just act like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's like when I was playing the game show host and spin the wheel, make the deal, remember somebody coming up and saying something to me, and I say, "Look, man, I don't make the rules. I just make the spins." It was just ad lib, So
What's funny about that is yes, because there was actually something that went out the other day. Actually, it was a Twitter. It might have been a Twitter or X, thread today or yesterday where it was like, drop your favorite Booker T commentary moment. I don't know if you saw that on your Twitter, but
I did, man. It was the funniest thing in the world.
There's a bunch of funny moments, but there was one promo I actually have never asked you about, but when you were talking just now, I was reminded of it, and I would love to see if I can find it on YouTube. I'm sure it's on there. It was in TNA. It was you and Scott Steiner. Y'all were arguing about something. I don't remember what it was, and then you were like, let's do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Do you remember this?
Yes, I remember that. That was one of my most funnest moments.
It was so funny. The eeny, was that all improv too? Like, just you came up with that before?
All of that was improv. All of that was improv. I mean, in the moment. I know we can do it. Easy, meeny, miny, mo.
Let's see. Okay, hold on. I think this is it. There's no swearing in it, right? No. There shouldn't be.
Oh, no swear.
Let me see if I can share this, because it's actually, if no one's ever heard the eeny, meeny, miny, mo thing, it's so funny. And it just is really a nice.
It's just what it is stupid.
It is
right?
stupid, but it's hilarious.
It's funny. It's funny, stupid. It's wrestling, My thing is, I had so much fun in TNA when I was doing this stuff too.
Here we go. So this is you. There's Jim Cornette of Blast from the Past. Angle's sitting there. I think Jeremy Borash is in the scene, and the Queen. Let's see if we can hear. You're crying. Booker's crying. He's crying on the camera. Ooh, baby. Everybody in that segment played their role so well. Jermell jumping in, stop being babies. Plus, he called first. And then Cornette at the end.
Oh my God, man. Ooh. That was a funny TV right there. I love Main Event Mafia. I mean, I wish we had more time together. I wish we really could have did something with that. But that time that we did have, that 2 years that I spent in TNA, it definitely was fun. I had some fun moments. I can't say it wasn't the greatest time, anything like that, but I did have a lot of fun doing those pre-tapes. I remember one where I was talking to the wall. I was so mad. Jeremy Borash was in it. I told him I was going to jump on him, if he didn't get out of there. It was just stupid, And I see Jeremy Borash every week now because he's at NXT, and to think about those times, it's just crazy fun. But that's what wrestling truly is all about. And, those moments like when we took over the show and me taking the microphone and beating up, Creed and Petey Williams and all those guys. It was just stupid fun. And when I see it on Twitter now, I go, wow, man. I think at that time also, TNA rating was we were drawing like 1.5 million people watching the show. And so for me, maybe I just wasn't thinking about it that way. I guess because I would go places when I was in TNA back then. A lot of people had thought I had retired because a lot of people, I guess they get a lot of overseas traffic, but it was just one of those things I just didn't know how many people actually saw that and gravitated to it. It's crazy.
Well, first off, yes. Now, and really because of Twitter and YouTube and stuff, people are really reliving those memories and realizing how great TNA actually was. And I actually really, and I've told you this and said it on the show for a long time, that run from like 05 to maybe 08, 09-ish, I think was like the best run for TNA, to where it really felt like they had so much momentum behind them. But you bring up a guy I actually want to give a spotlight to, and that's Jeremy Borash. And I don't think people really realize how much Jeremy Borash did in TNA, how much blood, sweat, and tears he put into that company. He was such a multi-tool player. He'd be a ring announcer. He'd be a commentator. He'd be a backstage interviewer. He would edit segments. He'd do voiceovers on packages. The guy did so much of everything. And I don't know how many people know that or how many people sing his praises, but his praises are worth being sung.
Well, he's still doing all this stuff. He's just doing it with WWE. He's still working. I'm serious. He working harder now than he probably perhaps ever worked, but I'm sure he loves it. One thing about Jeremy, he's always loved the business. And for me, he's always been cool. My time in TNA, we had a whole lot of laughs, and it was crazy. We're still laughing still to this day.
He's a great guy, man. Great guy. I love that I know you don't spend too much time going down memory lane, but it is nice to see some of those moments.
No. Well, that moment with TNA, like I say, when we took over the show, it was a moment that people still talking about to this day. And when I saw it on YouTube, they did like a whole, I don't know, maybe it was like an hour. Seriously. And they pretty much chronicled the whole, main event mafia, run. And then that came up, and it was just like, man, I really didn't realize how much fun that I did have in TNA. And what's crazy is I really thought I was going to be in TNA a whole lot longer than I was. I thought my run in TNA was going to last about maybe 5 years. I really did. When things didn't work out, when I kind of felt like things wasn't working out, let's just say that, I'd say, well, maybe I should just go ahead on and get out while I can. My contract was coming up, and honestly, they wasn't offering, a whole lot of money, at least the money that I was thinking about anyway. So I was like, man, let me go ahead and take a hiatus and go home. And then the Rumble came up, and I really thought that I was going to be in TNA for quite some time. I don't know. Things just, that's just the way things work in the business. At the end of the day, I was listening to Ric Flair talk about, a lot of the guys that got released today, and the statement that he made was, spot on 100%. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's a business, and sometimes things work, sometimes things don't work. I know it's no way in hell people would have, thought that CM Punk was only going to be in AEW for a couple of years.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
No one thought that. They thought that was a retirement thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is it. And boom, 2 years later, it's over. So I think that's just the way it is. It's just a business. But we got to take a break, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Oh, man. A lot of news going on out there. A lot of news been floating around on the internet. And the thing is, it's not rumor or anything like that. We're talking about the release of Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
Riddle is no longer a part of WWE. What do you think about that? We were just talking about Riddle.
We were just talking about Riddle and a situation that he had, I believe, at an airport or something of that nature.
We were just talking about Riddle.
Yeah.
And what did I say? What did I say that day? I say that stuff only going to be tolerated so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I said something like that. As far as that stuff, you can get away with that kind of stuff only for so long.
Yeah.
And then it catches up with you, because then you become a liability. It's like, man, you don't want people in the news for negative reasons. It's the last thing you want. It's the last thing, you need is having one in the news for negative purposes.
They used to say, when I was growing up, like, there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? And that used to may have been the case, but today, in the corporate structure, in the 24-hour news cycle, in the social media world, you do not want to be in the headlines for the wrong reasons. And I will say this, and I believe this: Matt Riddle did not get released because of his talent, because the guy's got talent. Right, in the ring. I mean, you've praised some of his in-ring work before. I've seen some.
Wait a minute.
You have.
I have not praised any of Riddle's work. Okay, I haven't.
I think that's happened.
No, I have not.
I
said he might be getting better or something like that. But as far as praising,
Okay, maybe praise is the wrong characterization. You have complimented some of his abilities. Okay.
Yes. I can agree with you on that.
Wrong descriptor.
Praise,
wrong adjective.
Exactly my point.
Yeah. However, my point is, it is, in my estimation, and I have no inside knowledge of this, that his out of the ring antics more so probably led at least to, if it wasn't that didn't what make them make the decision, it was a deciding factor. If he was on the bubble, hey, he's got some extra baggage that come along with him. Because, for Matt, do you remember when we first talked about Matt Riddle on this show? I don't know if you remember the first
him being bare feet.
No. The first thing that we ever mentioned about him on the show was his social media rant, I guess you could say it, against Goldberg.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the yeah.
And he went off on a couple other people. I think why do I feel like Lance Storm was in that mix too? I feel like he said something about Lance. I could be wrong on that. But I remember the Goldberg one for sure. And you talked about the disrespect of that. And
I did. Because Goldberg is a guy that made a lot of money in this business for the business. He sold out arenas, something that I don't think Riddle has done yet in his career. He's a guy that was a major star as far as movies and television as well. I wouldn't say movies, but television. He's done both. So Goldberg's a big deal. He's a big deal, and did he get his flowers like every other wrestler did? No, he didn't. Did an opportunity knock for Goldberg and he took it? Yes, he took it. Was Goldberg the greatest wrestler of all times? Of course he isn't. Should he be criticized for that? Well, I think not, because that's not what this business is about. That's what MMA is about. As far as the guy being the best fighter. Okay, that's not what the wrestling business is about, because it's entertainment. Sometimes the best wrestlers aren't the guys that's making the most money. Okay, just you think Roman Reigns is better than some of these guys' favorites like Kenny Omega, because they look at those guys from two totally different perspectives. Okay. Roman Reigns is an entertainer. He's a superstar. Kenny Omega is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Okay. Do we look at these guys different? Of course we do.
Yeah. It's different boxes.
It's just the way the business is. So when you gotta look at it that way all the time. And
I bring that up to say, because I remember his kind of the first time we talked about him was the Goldberg thing, and I looked it up to correct myself. Yeah. So he had shots at Goldberg, Lance Storm, and Chris Jericho, all within a nice stretch. He did bring up your name, I remember, but he didn't have anything bad to say. He said, I love Booker T. Watch my matches.
And the thing is, I don't have any bad thing to say about Riddle. I just wish, the kid had a golden opportunity.
Yeah.
And the thing is also, there's so many guys out there that wish they could have that spotlight, and that position, and that push to work alongside Randy Orton. And do a lot of people. And the thing is, just think about this for a second. Matt Riddle can almost put himself, and there's no disrespect to him either, but Matt Riddle can put himself almost in the same respect as Goldberg, being a guy who got an opportunity because of who he was and where he came from.
Coming over with some name value from the UFC. Yeah.
Exactly.
Got put in a big position. A year ago, almost to the day, maybe by a couple weeks, this guy was in the main event of Extreme Rules with Seth Rollins in that, what do they call it, Fight Pit? Was that what it was called, with Daniel Cormier? Went over, won in the main event, of a pay-per-view. And you fast forward a year later, and he's released. Now, we always ask this thing, like, are you shocked by this? And I think that you and I might have the same answer to this question. Am I shocked? No, and I'm not surprised either.
No, neither am I. I'm not shocked or surprised that this happened, because I've said it many, many times. You put yourself in position for something to happen, 9 times out of 10, it's going to happen. And I just think that's what happened with Riddle. I don't wish no ill will on anyone as far as them losing their job or anything like that.
Same.
But for someone like Riddle who's had several opportunities and several things happen to where, just say for instance, a lot of guys perhaps would have got released a long time ago for the same exact reasons. So when you get a shot, and people, I know a lot of people out there saying, well, he can go to AEW. If that's what AEW want, and they want to deal with, that kind of baggage and having turmoil because one guy's doing it and nothing's happening, and the other guy do it and something happened, having friction, and I just think he really put himself in a really, really awkward position because he left the UFC, for certain reasons. And then he came to WWE and was pretty much let right in the door and accepted by all of those guys in the locker room as well, So I don't know. He just really put himself in a bad light.
He put himself in a very bad light. And again, in this industry and all others, perception is reality, right? And if people have a perception of you that you could be difficult, that you might not have respect for the business because of things you said about the people who came before you, that perhaps you're cause issues outside the ring that reflect negatively on the company, if that's just the perception of you, not saying any of that's true, but if that's just the perception of you, that becomes the reality in a lot of people's minds. And it could put you on the chopping block. I'm like you. I don't wish ill will on anybody. I do think Matt Riddle had talent that could have been honed in on. He had an incredible opportunity that could have been better capitalized upon. And
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you, look. None of this would have happened if Matt Riddle would have just listened to me. Okay?
Explain.
If Matt Riddle would have just listened to me from the beginning, none of this would have never happened. If he would have just got him a damn pair of boots, we could have looked past all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, maybe worn some shoes. Perhaps it would have been different for him. You're crazy.
I'm just playing, man. That's
I know.
just jokes.
I know. But here's the thing too. I do want to say this, and this is 100% honesty. Did Matt Riddle's character ever resonate with me personally? No. Did I think he looked kind of stupid sometimes when he was out there? Just his facial expressions, his overall disposition? Yes. However, did a large amount of people in the WWE universe gravitate to him and chant, bro, 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 when he would come out and pop for his entrance and have the flip-flops and the signs? There was a lot of people that liked Matt Riddle. A lot of people that might like Matt Riddle. And it wasn't for me.
You know why? You know why? Because that time that Matt Riddle spent when he left the UFC, he was out there on the indies.
Yeah.
He was Andy Darling.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting booked all over the place. So he was fairly popular when he came to the WWE. I'm not saying, he didn't put in some work and just came from the UFC and had a name. He actually put in some work. Ronda Rousey actually put in a little bit of work before she came into WWE. But and I can respect Matt Riddle for actually going out there on the indies and trying to hone his craft and then create that bro character. I can appreciate that 100% because a lot of guys in this business that can't create anything. You know what I mean? So I give Matt Riddle a whole lot of credit as far as being a guy that, kind of like had some direction as far as where he wanted to go in this business. I just hate that he didn't, stay the course and stay focused and make me a liar.
Mm.
Okay? I would have loved for Matt Riddle to make me a liar because I said, a guy that's, running around bare feet is never going to, get the title. Remember me saying that?
Yeah.
And then Matt Riddle started rolling. You remember me saying, well, maybe the bare feet thing is working for him. I gave him some props on that.
Yeah.
So I'm not one to, retract my statement if a guy is willing to go out there and prove me wrong. I said that about Dragunov just last week. You make me a believer. I said that about Jermell Charlo. Say, man, I didn't believe in you guys in the beginning, but hey, you made me a believer. I was willing to say that to his face. So Riddle, he could have proved me wrong, but hey, that's another story. We got to take a break, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Can you dig it, sucker?
And this episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, let's talk about it. Let's talk about sex. Hey, you remember when you was always ready to go? I'm talking about strapping the rocket on it, man. Going straight to the moon. I'm talking about getting it done. If you want that extra confidence, I got something for you. Listen up. BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, but in a chewable tablet at the fraction of the cost.
But the great thing, Book, is you can take it any time, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days.
The best part, guys, it's all done online on the internet. So there's no doctor's visit, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at a pharmacy or any of that.
And the thing is, Book, Blue Chew's tablets, they're made right here in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package, so no one is the wiser.
Let's just get it out there, guys. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. It's like this. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew absolutely free when you use promo code Booker at your checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping, man. That's BlueChew.com and use promo code and receive your first month absolutely free, man. Visit BlueChew.com. Use promo code Booker to receive your first month absolutely free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And, we want to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Hall of Fame podcast. Chew it and do it. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We just chopping it up here inside. I want to thank everybody for stepping inside the Hall of Fame as well and getting your champagne wishes and caviar dreams, man. But I know we probably got some.
You don't mess with my little privates, man.
Sorry, I just had to hit to everybody out there.
But we're gonna get to you guys here in a bit. Brad, what you got in the bracket, man?
Well, I did want to ask you a couple other things before we jump into any super chats that we have. First off, AEW Collision went down on Saturday. There were a couple of your boys on the show. RVD was on the show as well as.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Officially now, he is officially the new TNT champion. Christian Cage is now the TNT champion over there in AEW. I want to give a big shout out and congrats to Christian Cage, who we had on this show during the pandemic. And I remember asking him, is it done? And he seemed like he was retired and he was at peace with it. Then that opportunity arises and he finds a way to go into the AEW. And now he's a champion over there. I just kind of wanted to get what your reaction is to Christian Cage as the TNT champion, and what that means also for the locker room, having the strap on a vet like that.
It's huge, man, for Christian to be that guy, because I always said Christian was the most underrated, perhaps superstar in the history of the business. I've always said that. He's always been like extraordinarily good. He's a guy that you can count on to pretty much make the right decision every time in the middle of that square circle. I remember being in matches with Christian myself, where it was a fatal four-way or something like that, and I would go and find a quiet spot and get some coffee and a sandwich, and I would just chill, and I would tell Christian, bro, just let me know what I'm doing tonight. And he would let me know exactly when I was going to do the side kick, the scissor kick, and the spinneroonie. and it would be perfect timing. And I would ask no questions. Sometimes you got to know how to just be quiet and let someone else, do the work for you, and you take the credit. That's the guy that we're talking about as far as Christian Cage, and that's my Christian Cage testimonial. Put it out there.
I actually agree with you as far as Christian in WWE. When you're able to look back on that run that he had, I was talking about coming in and whatever that was, 99, 98, with Edge and Christian, and then going all the way through his Captain Charisma days. He used to have this awesome, do you remember his old music that had it was like an operatic, Christian,
Yeah.
and Edge, you're on your own. And then like the pyro would be down. I used to think it was such a cool intro. And I think that as far as a position player where you knew you could program him with anybody and he could get a great match out of him, tell a great story, has really always been his MO. Whether that be in a crazy ladder match, a multi-man match, a triple threat match, or even a match, just straight up one-on-one. I think that he's so good and he's so smart. And the promos and the character work, by the way, he's been doing on AEW, it's up there with the best thing that's on the show week to week. Starting with when he had the program with Jungle Boy and was talking about his dad who has since passed, but just knew how to get the right amount of heat from that and knew how to, just when he says, say hi to your mom for me and gives that Biff Tannen line, he is so excellent in it. And I think having someone like that who's been a champion at a high level in other places, I think being your champion is only great for a young locker room to look and see, hey, this is how the guy, I'm talking about even how he carries the belt, right? Tells me something.
Yeah. No,
you know what I'm saying?
I remember one of my most fondest memories was we was doing an on sale for WWE, and we were in
What's an on sale?
Quebec. Well, tickets
Okay.
as far as when we go to like a venue, and there's a lot of people there, and we're just talking about the show and us coming to town and whatnot. A lot of wrestlers is almost like a pep rally, something like that. Pre-fight hype, something like that. And Christian and I, we were part of it, and we were in Quebec, somewhere like that, in his home country. And it was so funny because he took the stage, and he had a suit on, right? And he had a tie and a little scarf around his neck, and his hair was well coiffed. And he was actually acting like he was the president when he was speaking. He would pause between everything, let the people clap, look around, then he would say something else, pause, look around, let the people clap. And I was like, this guy's good. He was perfect. But I remember that so vividly. I learned so much that day just watching him do his work. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually remember even back in the day when the old radio show you and I used to have, he called in one time. It was around WrestleMania season, and I remember the first thing he said was, well, hey, Book, thanks for having me on your radio show, and I just hope that you would return the favor and you would be on my radio show. And you're like, yeah, Christian, no problem. Anytime you say the word. He goes, well, I don't have a radio show, but if you can have one, then I'm sure anybody can have one. And it was like a dig, at the beginning of the show. And I just remember thinking how, just quick on his feet that he was. Or not even that he was quick. He probably had that bit planned. And it just, tells you.
Trust me, he wrote that.
But it just tells you again, hey, no, 9 times out of 10, there's nothing wrong with it. Somebody's doing a phone or boom, you don't think about it. You just listen to the questions that they ask you and you go. But he took the time to be like, okay, how can I make this good? How can I do something that's going to be funny? And I think that he takes that mentality to everything.
No, like I say, he's a guy that you can trust in that position as well. That's one thing about this business. Someone like Tony Khan, he definitely needs to look towards people that he could trust. And I've said that before about this business as far as, they got to be able to trust you. People thought, you know what, maybe he's talking about this. Well, maybe he's talking about that. Oh, I think he's talking about this. What I mean by a guy that you can trust is you can count on Christian to make sure he go out there and do the right thing every time. You're not going to have to worry about if he's going to make a date or anything like that due to something, that's totally in his hands that he can control. Of course, making a flight or something like that because of bad weather, that's not what I'm talking about. But if he can control it, he's going to be there 100% of the time. That's the guy Christian really is. And that's one thing about this business. You need guys like that, especially the guys that's going to work at the top of the card. You know, it's the reason why John Cena worked at the top of the card for many, many years, because they could trust him to get the job done and do that job well every time. So I think having Christian in that spot, and then, flip over with RVD being a part of the show. Are they giving RVD a contract or what? Have you heard any word on that?
I'm not sure what his status is. I don't know if he's full-time, if he's on like an appearance.
RVD, he probably like being, that Barry Bonds cleanup man. Come in, once in a blue, pay me, give me that daily rate.
According to PW Insider, he's on a short-term deal with AEW, whatever that means.
Okay, I like it. I like that a lot.
But remember when he came back? Remember when he came back to WWE? This is now almost a decade ago. He was on like a 90-day on, 90-day off schedule with them. He would come work for 3 months straight, and then he'd be gone for a little while. Then he'd work another 3 months, and then he'd leave. Maybe that's kind of a similar thing he has with AEW.
I think he can teach those guys over there a little bit of something, because Rob's gone through it, and you can see Rob is one of the guys that's still able to still do it. Also, what?
No, what I was just going to say is, and Rob kind of pioneered, in a lot of ways, the style that a lot of those guys wrestle nowadays.
That's exactly what I was saying. As far as guys that's jumping over stuff, jumping on stuff, Rob can school these guys and let them know exactly what their careers are going to end up like. But Rob's got also that it's no secret that, for me, Rob can go out there and still do it, because Rob was one of the guys that you would see stretching in a corner for hours, just stretching and stretching and stretching, but we got to take a quick break. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. They do look kind of alike, man. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. Oh, man. Every time I see that, man, all I can do is just start laughing.
Well, it's pretty funny.
They do kind of remind me of it.
So,
kind of a little bit.
Speaking of them, I'll just share this on the screen from my phone, but I saw this meme earlier today, of the Matt Damons and the Ben Afflecks and the Leos of the world. This is a meme of Ben Affleck, and I'll just show you a piece of it, right? So it's him talking to Jennifer Lopez, and it says, there are 14 more matches on this show, right? And you see her face, and then you scroll down. Every guy who's got a girlfriend when wrestling's on the TV or you're at a live show, they know.
Yeah, right.
They know. It's like going to a baseball.
That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel. I'm producing it.
I know you're crossing them off the list. You're like, three more. We're almost there.
I swear, man. No. Half the time I'm close by the timekeeper. Hey, shave 2 minutes off this one. Cut a minute off this one. On Saturday night, at one match, they got to 5 minutes, right? He was giving them a minute countdown, and he goes, 5 minutes left. And then I told him, okay, next time you tell them they got 2. So within a minute, he went from 5 minutes to 2 minutes.
Hey, man.
Send them home. Yeah. I remember working for WCW back in the day, and Jody Hamilton was the timekeeper, Nick Patrick's dad. And in a minute, bro. You know, you're out there messing up. Send them home. In a heartbeat, man.
Do you ever remember being out there and say they gave you, I don't know, 10, 12 minutes or something, and either while you were out there or about to walk through Gorilla, did they just dramatically cut your time ever? Do you remember that?
That normally just happened to the guys that's not, you know, not well crafted. You know what I mean? I think that's what that is. I never had my time cut like that. I mean, I may have had a minute shaved off here, 2 minutes maybe shaved off there. But a lot of times I would get more time added on in matches, which was really, really cool. Always, yeah. I always loved, you know, I always loved, you know, when I would get some extra time and be able to really, really go out and work because they cut a match off. They cut a match because of whatever reasons, and that time got to go somewhere, and they'll put, you know, give you an extra 5 minutes. I always loved that because, you know, just like having, you know, Axiom and Charlie Dempsey at Reality of Wrestling, that extra time, it seemed like they felt so free. It seemed like, you know, nothing could, you know, stop the flow of, you know, what they were doing out there because they were just having fun. And for me, when you get extra time, you have a lot more time to have fun, opposed to rushing through everything, and everything has to be so compact where you literally out of breath, you know, after, you know, so many minutes because you're thinking about that time. And that's the one thing for me I always thought about in a match was I never wanted to know who was going over. That wasn't the first thing I wanted to know. First thing I always wanted to know was how much time we got, because if it's a short amount of time, you got to condense. But if you got 20 minutes, okay, you good. It's going to be a good night.
Yeah, well, hey, man, that's the first time I've ever heard people getting time added on to their matches.
Big star, only the big stars get that.
Well,
man.
the only reason I even asked that is because I remember, like, if they came to you and said, "Hey, Book, how much time do you need?" Is your response going to be a lot or just a little?
10 minutes. That's all I really need, according to who I'm working. I mean, if it's a big match, of course you're going to want, you know, 15 to 20. But if you're just working a match against, you know, a guy, you can normally tell your story in 10 minutes. Because just think about it. You're doing a 20-minute match, 22 minutes. That's like a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
You're working constantly working for 20 minutes. It's not something that's easy, really, you know, easy to do. I mean, in my day, 20 minutes was like a breeze, a short walk around the block or something like that. Like I say, you hear about Ric Flair back in the day doing an hour with Steamboat. It gets easier after a while. You know what I mean? But for me, 10 minutes is all I really need.
Well, there you go. There you have it. Well, let me ask you this. This is non-wrestling related. I know we got super chats, and we're going to get to them here in just a moment. We're going to Las Vegas this weekend. Yes. To be there to take part in the festivities of the H-Town's own Jermell Charlo. Going to face Canelo Alvarez, premier boxing champions on Showtime pay-per-view. We appreciate everybody for being out there. Actually, the Hall of Fame, if you're a local listener here in the H, we're going to be on ESPN 97.5, 92.5 at 7 o'clock on Thursday. So make sure that you're paying attention to the times and things of that nature. But I wanted to ask you about another fight before we get into that one. I wanted to ask you, what is your feelings and what are your thoughts regarding Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury and that big boxing exhibition that's coming up here shortly? They announced it a few weeks ago. We never talked about it on the show. This is something Francis obviously wanted to hold for a long time, and it's a good idea for Tyson as well. But what do you think about it?
Well, I mean, MMA fighter versus a boxer. I'm going to pick the boxer any day of the week. And if the boxer's Tyson Fury, I'm going to pick that guy right now, you know, pretty much every time over anybody in the division of the heavyweight boxers. not just MMA. I'm talking about boxing. I'm going to pick Tyson Fury just because he's that good. I know people talking about Tyson Fury being out of shape right now. They showed some pictures of him, with his shirt off, and he looked like he looked like a hot mess. But the thing is, Tyson Fury has always looked that way. He's never looked great. He's never been like a bodybuilder, sculpted Adonis or anything like that, carved out of granite. That's never been his, modus operandi or anything like that. But as far as that jab goes, as far as having great footwork, a guy that can move around on his toes, you thought this guy was, Butterbean Muhammad Ali put together if they had a baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious. That's the way he move around. But no, I think Francis Ngannou was smart to take this fight. He's going to make, more money than he ever could have made in a UFC bout with anyone. So and for him to actually get this fight done, get the deal done, that was the task more than anything, getting the deal done. Because just think about it, Francis Ngannou was pretty much left out in the cold if this fight wouldn't have gone off. So big ups to Tyson Fury and his people for making this fight, because Francis Ngannou, a year from now, this fight wouldn't be the same. Francis Ngannou's name, recognition, all of that would just dwindle. So I give Tyson Fury and his people big props, because this is a fight that Francis Ngannou can retire after this. Yep. He could walk away in the sunset. And I was listening to Francis Ngannou on Joe Rogan talk about this, and he was talking about how the UFC, treat the fighters as far as the extension clause goes, their contracts. He was smart to, walk away and take a chance on himself. If you haven't watched that interview with Joe Rogan, go back and watch it, because you will get a whole lot of insight on pretty much why he did what he did. And you can only respect a man for believing in himself. So yeah, big ups for him.
Yeah, he bet on himself, and if I'm being honest, I was questioning then. I'm thinking, I know you want what was it, Deontay Wilder money? Was that was the thing that was thrown out there a lot?
Well, he wanted a new contract.
Right.
That's what he said on Joe Rogan's show. He said he wanted a new contract. He said the UFC, his deal was coming up, but they kept extending him because of, certain fights didn't go off and they could just flag you. It's a lot of detail that goes into that. He said they were stalling him as well, because he thought he could have knocked those 3 fights out of his contract relatively quickly, but the UFC was stalling him, and then by stalling him, sometime extending him at the same time. So it was almost like a never-ending story. You got to go back and listen to it. That's why I say it was very, very interesting to listen to Francis Ngannou on why he felt like he had to bet on himself. One thing that struck me about Francis Ngannou also in that interview, he said, look, man, they think that they can starve me where I came from. He said, I can live with nothing. He said, I'm not one of these guys that need a whole lot. He said, whatever's in my wallet, I can live off that. So no, I mean, so that right there told me a whole lot about this dude, that it's really not about the money per se. I want to get my fair share. I want to get paid my fair share for what I'm doing. I'm the heavyweight champion. I'm the best guy on the roster. Should not be able to, have some bargaining agreement here. Conor McGregor got it.
He did.
Am I right?
He did. He got piece of the pay-per-view, got points, right? Big salary up front.
John Jones get it right.
John Jones, Johnny Bones, yeah.
Exactly. So if you could do it for these guys, come on, man. Conor McGregor has become a multi-millionaire. How many UFC fighters have become a multi-millionaire?
Very few. You can count them on one hand.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I respect Francis Ngannou for being a guy that say, look, man, I'll go back to the bush. I don't need the money. I don't need the money. I don't need the life. I don't need the cars. I don't need the big steak. You know what I mean? I don't need all of that. It's just me. I appreciate him because he definitely is setting an example that people can look at and respect and aspire to want to be like one day. He's standing up for himself, and that's one thing. Stand up for something, you fall for anything. So I appreciate Francis Ngannou for doing what he's doing. We got to take another quick break, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Shoop. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. We got to be rolling up out of here pretty soon.
Yeah,
man.
last
So
one.
we might want to get super chats right about now before we run out of time.
Well, here we go.
Super chat.
First one comes from Ray J. Dawkins. I'm curious to see what WWE will do with Ashante the Adonis and B-Fab since Top Dollar has been released, and I'm curious to see if they'll continue as Hit Row or be repackaged.
You know what? I don't think they're going to continue as Hit Row. I think they might as well dismantle that thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think when they lost Swerve, I think that was
They lost the
one
group.
thing. That was the glue. I really do. I like I was talking about Swerve, and I was talking about how impressed I was with Swerve as far as him being a lyricist himself. I didn't know he was a rapper, but he sounded just as good as Top Dollar. He was definitely one of those guys that you looked at totally different when you saw him in that group. And the thing is, you saw Swerve as the leader of that group. I could be wrong, but that's the way I felt. I felt Swerve was the glue that kept that thing together. Now, bringing them back, I thought that was cool because, again, everybody get that paper, baby. Everybody needs that paper. But one thing about it, as hard as it is to get back there, man, it's so much harder to stay there. So, and when I talked about Top Dollar too, as far as being a guy that I really feel like if he just tap into what he's good at, I really think Top Dollar is going to be all right because the dude is good with the pen and paper. He really is. So Top Dollar, keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing your thing. As well as you want to come to reality wrestling, we got a spot for you.
Didn't Top Dollar did he do a Harlem Heat theme freestyle or a Booker T freestyle?
Yeah, he did. He
Is
did,
that out?
It's somewhere. Yeah.
Wale did one too, but we never got to hear it like fully.
Yeah. Hey, man, everybody trying to follow in Bad Bunny's footsteps and get a Grammy.
Our next one here is from our great Cali Toenail.
Toenail.
There we go, Cali. Is it too soon for Lashley and the Profits to have trouble? They really haven't gotten off the blocks yet. What do they do? Do they got what it takes to be great heels? You gotta let them
They haven't had any trouble. They haven't had any trouble yet, have they?
No. I mean, no, not really. Bobby's just been like kind of barking at them. Get their head in the game.
Well, that's problem. That's enough problems right there already. If they're barking at each other, I mean, faction's supposed to be, happy all the time until they ain't. That's just me. But I don't know, man. I'm still conflicted with Street Profit and Bobby together. I mean, it's a great combination. They got a lot in common. Let's just say that they're all brothers. so that right there makes everything cool and copacetic. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'm not that too fond of the group just because I'm looking for some. I'm like Dion's. I'm like Coach Prime. I'm looking for some dogs, man. I'm looking for some dogs. And if you ain't one of them dogs, man, you might want to start applying to another university because we looking for dogs, man. And when I've been telling Street Profits they need to turn into some dogs. You know what I mean? Ditch the cup. All right. What's in the damn cup? Okay. So that's my thing. It's time to start putting the hurt business on the map if you're going to put the hurt business on the map. No pun intended. It's time to bring the pain if you're going to bring the pain and quit messing around, and jiving and messing around. See, I'm just saying. Let me get that. I just had to get that off my chest. Let's keep it rolling.
That's going to be the headline of every, wrestling site this week. I don't like this group. Unk says, Book, what were you thinking in TNA when you were beating down Xavier Woods and commentating on the mic? Chew it and do it. You were thinking I wanted to do this for a long time.
Man. I'm just having fun, okay? When I was beating up Consequences Creed,
right?
That was his name back then. Creed. I was just having fun. When I'm talking about Blue Chew, I'm just having fun because that's what life's all about. Life's about having fun every day.
By hanging out.
You can't get some fun out of this. I'm serious. Can't get some fun out of this thing. You're in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of work involved in having fun as well. Me and Brad, we've been working. Saturday night, worked all night. We got to get on a flight on Thursday. We got to go to Vegas. We got to work. I got to go, get on the plane on Saturday and go to Bakersfield. But then I'm gonna come home on Sunday and get a little bit of rest, and then back to work on Tuesday. But work is work, man. But you got to still be able to have fun and laugh within the middle of that storm. Otherwise, you're gonna wake up one day and be wondering, wait a minute, I'm not here anymore. So have some fun, people. Seriously.
Yeah, I feel that. Gotta laugh while you do it. Speaking of
every day,
Big Breezo.
Every day.
Book, do you really dislike the dancing and goofing off in the ring?
In the ring, I dislike dancing and goofing off just because I always wanted to make my fans feel a certain way when they left that arena. I never mind joking around and laughing and being as stupid as I wanted to be outside of the ring. I'm the guy that had a fight with Stone Cold Steve Austin in the grocery store. I'm the guy that it was chasing around in the bingo hall. I'm the guy that was, ran and hid in a confessional. Okay. So I'm the guy that was, GI bro. So you got to be able to, you got to be able to have those moments where it's not so serious.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what, and you've talked about that too. I mean, I think that as long as it's before and after the bell, it's all well and good, right? But
anything outside of the ring is open season. Mm-hmm. But when you get inside the square circle, you want people to think that they're watching a real fight. And the thing is, they know what they're watching. They know what they paid to see. But for me, that part is sacred, almost like what Gunther say. It's sacred. The ring is sacred as far as that part is the payoff for the fans. And if I'm paying the fans off with ha-ha, I'm not really paying them off. We've done the ha-ha leading up to the match.
Right. Right. I'm in total agreement. Our next one here is from Kappa Owens.
Super chat.
Sigh, Book and Brad. Samoa Joe has it all to me. Not saying any bad booking has been done, but why does he always fall short of the big one, it seems?
Well, that's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. Why Joe falls short? Because he's not the guy that they chose to be the guy. That's all it is. A lot of guys in this business, been in Joe's position, not the chosen ones. Joe will tell you that himself. Hey, man, I'm not the guy that, that was most likely to succeed in this business. I think Joe will tell you that. Joe made all of his own breaks. And, do I wish Joe would win the big one? Of course. Will he win the big one? Perhaps. I think Joe is going to have his time in the sun. I really believe that just because Tony Khan is that type of guy. But as far as Joe is one of those guys that is tailor-made to go out there and work with anybody, and you're going to believe what's happening in that ring. And when that guy wins, that guy is going to be elevated to another level by beating Joe. And there again, I hope Joe get his props one day because I worked with Samoa Joe right here in Houston, and it was one of the best matches I ever had. And it was perhaps the best match I had in TNA.
Yeah, the Victory Road here in Houston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal match. Our last super chat here of the day comes from, Kappa Owens again, who says, J-Lo looking at Jon Moxley with skewers in his head. I guess that was her reaction shot is the joke. The skewers thing was an interesting choice. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of that, if I'm being honest. I don't too much enjoy that. But hey, somebody does. It's not for me.
Hey, man.
Do you ever take skewers to the head?
I've never done anything to the head. Okay? Nothing. I'm serious. And when I see these guys go out and really want to take it to another level and do stuff like this, I don't know. Have you heard any news about Jon Moxley? Speaking of Jon Moxley, as far as his condition,
I heard it was a concussion, and I haven't heard anything more since then. I don't know if there's any latest update, but we wish that he's 100% okay after that scary, scary bump in the match with Ray Phoenix.
Yeah, no doubt, man. What a scary bump that was. Hopefully he's okay. I seen something they said that he had a mild concussion, but there was no timeline on when Jon Moxley was going to be back to work. Mild concussion seemed like you should be back to work pretty quick, but there again, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully, it's not that serious. But there again, also, No Mercy going down this weekend, Bakersfield, California. NXT is going to be live, man. Cannot wait to get there. The main event, Carmelo Hayes versus that mad dragon. Also, I'm looking forward to that contest. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's NXT as well. It's going to be some huge matches. My boy Trick Williams looking to get back in action as well, and I can't wait for whoop that Trick, whoop that. Oh yeah! Somebody even have to get my intro down for Trick Williams when he get ready to make his. Yeah, exactly. Get my young Jeezys. My young Jeezy's ready. You know what I mean? Jeezy's the king of the ad-lib. So, yeah, I'm going to be ready for that right there as well. Yeah. Oh, a bunch of that. It's going to be a bunch of that. The whole show. It's going to be a bunch of that. So, guys, tune in.
Well, BT, football season is back. And you know what that means? Touchdown dances, Sunday tailgates, and epic fantasy showdown. But, fellas, let's not forget the real MVP of the season. Introducing the all-new Beard Hedger Pro Kit by Manscaped, your ultimate luxury beard grooming experience. This kit is your secret weapon for staying sharp on and off the field. So guys, don't fumble this opportunity. Head to manscaped.com and elevate your grooming game with the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. You heard it right. 9 million men, over 109 MetLife stadiums full. So go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BookerT. Hey, Book, the thing about the Beard Hedger Pro Kit, it's a grooming powerhouse built for precision and for style, just like your favorite quarterback. The kit tackles beard touch-ups effortlessly, ensuring you're always prepped for the next play. Plus, it has a compact design for easy portability. Look, here's the thing, Book. You've been taking care of your beard for a while. I've been trying to grow in what I can here for a little while, and I wouldn't use any other kit than what Manscaped is offering right now. And, after grooming my facial turf, I want to show it some love with Manscaped's liquid formulations. The beard shampoo, the beard conditioner, the beard oil, and the beard balm. They're key for feeling victorious and taking your beard game to the next level. So, Book, tell them how they can save some money.
Get 20% off and free shipping with code BookerT at manscaped.com. Oh, yeah!
This is the Hall of Fame on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here, as always, and we're coming to you from New York Hotel and Casino here in Las Vegas, getting ready for a huge matchup going down Saturday night. Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell, Charlo, and I'm talking about one of perhaps the biggest fight of the year. There's been some big fights this year, but this one right here is for all the marbles. It's for who's going to be undisputed champion in the middleweight division in the 4-belt era. Oh, my God, man. It's going to be good. I cannot wait for Saturday night, even though Saturday, I can't stay because I got a lot of stuff going on, but I will be watching it live only on pay-per-view. So, guys, make sure you check it out. Or if you're anywhere in the surrounding areas, I think they still got tickets. It's going to be going down in T-Mobile Arena. And, man, what an arena. Of course, I've had a chance to perform there myself many times. But I tell you, this night, this epic night, I was listening to Jermell Charlo, and he said this fight is something that he has been chasing his whole career. And for that right there, it makes it huge for him, but it makes it huge for the city. The city of H-Town. Oh, H-Town is about to shine again, man, like them Houston Astros. We about to win another championship. Bradley, let me bring you in, man. I'm getting blown. How you feel, dog? How you feel? We're in Vegas.
We're in Vegas again, Book. It's like we never left. That's what you and I were saying. We were checking in. Shout out to New York, and MGM Grand for accommodating us this week. When we were checking in, man, we were walking around. It was like, hey, weren't we just here for a massive fight? And now we're back again. And this time, though, we're the only station here. Don't make any mistake about it. We're the only station here repping for Houston, Texas. Man. And me, I know you like to be unbiased. I know you like to be impartial.
What?
But I'm repping for Charlo out here.
No.
I don't care if anybody hears it.
I'm going to tell you right now, of course, Canelo Alvarez has been impeccable throughout his career. Got just only 2 losses on his immaculate record. One was to perhaps the greatest fighter of all times, Floyd Money Mayweather, and Dimitri Bivol. He just lost that fight not too long, a couple of years, I guess. He lost that fight to Bivol. But I really don't chalk that up as a loss for Canelo, because Bivol is just such a big, massive, and imposing fighter. It was a tall task for Canelo Alvarez, but if he could have climbed that mountain, oh my God, this fight would have a whole different look as far as I'm concerned. But him not climbing that mountain, and Charlo being a guy who have been through trial and tribulation, I should say, in this fight game. He's been I wouldn't say on the losing, not on the deck, but on the losing end to Tony Harrison, and then he came back in the rematch against Tony Harrison and put that boy down and got a championship back. And then Brian Castano, he went to a draw with Castano, and I was at that fight in Houston, Texas. Fight 1 against Castano. I didn't get a chance to go to fight 2. I think that might have been out here in Vegas. I don't know.
The first one was at Minute Maid, right?
Yeah. And I tell you, I sit there and I watch that fight, and I was like, man, I don't know what's going to happen. It's close. But he came back and avenged himself in the second fight by stopping Castano. So my thing is this, man. This is going to be a fight for the ages. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm so down with the fight game, with the art of pugilism. Guys that are willing. There's only a few chosen few that walk on the planet that get a chance to actually go inside that square circle and do that. And that's why I respect these guys so much, because me personally, could I have made that walk? I probably could have. But I'm going to tell you right now, I always talk about the sweaty palms. I always talk about the butterflies, going all around, swirling all over the place. You got to get those butterflies to line up and fly straight. I feel like I would have been able to do that. I trained to actually box before I got into wrestling. I went through all the training regiments and whatnot. I had all the movements. I'm talking about, I'm like Ali. I'm like Sugar Ray Leonard, man. I'm moving fast. But when I got hit one time in a sparring session, I said, man, what can I might need to find another profession.
You said on second thought.
Bro, nah, I'm serious. Those gloves, they look like pillows, but when you get hit with one, they feel like bricks. So I was like, man, I don't know about this. And then wrestling came along, and I said, man, I'm going to go over here and try this wrestling thing. It might be a little less painful, even though I end up in the long run, bro. It hurt just as bad. But
you were able to do it for a longer time.
Yeah, but I thought about it. I really thought my way out was going to be the fight game. I really thought I was going to be a boxer. I love, the art of getting in the ring and not just fighting, but being able to slip, being able to set your opponent up, being able to, not land that big shot. There again, I never really got a chance to do that from a serious perspective. But I always loved and respected the guys who have gone out there and played that gladiator. I wouldn't say played, did that gladiator sport, because it's not. They say you don't play boxing. No, that's what they say. The boxers, if they hear you say play anything in the boxing world, they're gonna be boom upset at you. So no, you don't play boxing. It's as real as it possibly can be. And Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo going down this Saturday night, guys. Live on pay-per-view. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. It's going to be an awesome, awesome night. Oh my God.
Well, exactly, though, what we're going to be seeing here is, like you said, this is the 4-division era, the 4-belt era, and you have Charlo, who I think that we were talking a little bit when we were getting ready to get on the plane about this being really the make your dreams come true forevermore fight for him. And I don't mean to heap extra pressure on him. I'm sure he feels the weight of the world already, especially the weight of the city. But this could take him from, hey, is it Jermell or Jamal, to that's Jermell Charlo. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he's not there already, but I'm talking about on the mainstream scale, because people don't even watch boxing. They know Canelo Alvarez. You might have heard the name Jermell or Jamal Charlo, but this fight could cement his legacy all in one night and set him up for the rest of the world, to where if he walks through the streets of Houston, he's like George Foreman. They go, there's George. There's George. There's the man right there.
Yeah. I mean, I always loved the brothers repping the city. Jermell Charlo definitely have set himself apart in so many different ways, just because I watch the mannerisms of Jermell Charlo today compared to 5, 6, 7 years ago. I look at the relationship that he has with his trainer, Derek James, and how, I got a chance to ask Derek, how has it been, being a mentor for Jermell Charlo and the growth of Jermell Charlo as a man over these last few years. And I say, don't think I don't see the difference between the totally two different guys. And I was just wondering how much he had to do with him. He said, yeah, it's a process. It's been a process. And to get to this level, you have to have one thing in this fight game. You got to have discipline. I look at Broner's career. Adrian Broner. I look at Broner's career. This guy, he was so good, but he wasn't disciplined. He wasn't disciplined enough. I look at Tank Davis in the beginning of his career when he was getting in so much trouble, police showing up at his house, whatnot, fighting with his woman. Until that young man got disciplined, things didn't fall in line for him, and that's what I see with Jermell Charlo. I see the maturity in this young man growing up to be a man now, having a chance to create his own legacy and his own destiny by going out here and beating the guy that he has been hunting for his whole career, and that's Canelo Alvarez. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be on like a steaming pot of neck bones, cooking for about 3 days. Meat falling off the bone. I'm talking about it's gonna be some cuts. It's gonna be some blood. It's gonna get brutal in there. It's gonna be a battle. It's going to be war, and I'm so looking forward to seeing the outcome of this fight. Hopefully, H-Town, stand up, H-Town. It's going to be good, man.
So you're taking sides on this one.
Bro, come on.
It's hard not to, right?
I'm from Houston, man. I've been repping Houston, for about 30 years now. I put the city on my back, and you know what, man? Look here. I'm down for my crown. That's what they say in H-Town. So we looking forward to somebody to be knocked down by the 12th round, if you understand what I'm saying. Oh yes!
Oh yeah, you're coming through tonight with the bars from book. Yeah. Now again, have you looked?
That was a cool little rap.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. It's the Booker man, y'all.
Yeah.
Now, have you looked at the odds at all?
You know what? I haven't looked at the odds, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I can see the odds weighing in Canelo's favor slightly. Am I correct on that or not?
More than slightly.
Okay.
We can talk about them. I know we're getting close to.
We got to take a break. We got to take a break, guys. Stick around, y'all. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You're hooked up with it.
You hooked up with it. You decided to marry it. I told you I wasn't into it. You said it didn't matter.
This is the Hall of Fame on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We're out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, getting ready for a huge matchup. Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo, guys, for supremacy. I'm talking about it's going to be awesome. Man, we're coming to you from the hotel, New York, hotel and casino out here, guys. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, I'm amped. I'm hyped, I'm psyched, I'm ready for a big fight. You know what? All these raps lyrics I'm throwing in there too. Man. It's crazy, but I'm serious. Every time it's fight week for me, I'm like a little kid. Go back to when I saw Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali battling it out, and guys like George Foreman, and Ron Lau, sticking it out. I'm gonna tell you, if you guys have never seen George Foreman versus Ron Lau, you go back and check it out. One of the greatest fights you're ever going to see in your life. I think it was about 6 to 7 knockdowns in that fight before it was over with. Okay, both guys went down like 3 times apiece, maybe one. Bam! Oh my God, George Foreman had to retire after that fight. He said, "Man, I'm done.
It's over.
Let me get away from this and go preach." But I'm gonna tell you, the fight game is something that has always been near and dear to my heart, and to just be out here doing this is it's really more than a dream come true. I remember watching Frank Sinatra taking photos at one of Muhammad Ali's fights. He was right there ringside, and he was up close, and he had his, 35 millimeter camera. I don't know if the camera was loaded or not, but, as he's taking pictures, people's taking pictures of him, but I remember that as a little kid, and I go, man, I want to be like Frank Sinatra one day and be so up close and personal to the fight. I swear, that was one of my all-time dreams after seeing Frank Sinatra up close. And the thing was, as famous as Frank Sinatra was, he's there as a photographer.
Yeah.
Ah, man. I was
still a fan.
You're still such a fan of the game that he said, look here, man, I'm putting on the hard hat and the boots, and I'm going into the war zone myself. I want to get some sweat on me. I want some blood might come. That right there showed me a whole lot about Frank, man. But him just, the Rat Pack. Man, boys, major players. I wish I could have just been, hanging out with those guys just one night, him and Sammy and Dean. It would have been an awesome night.
I know. I feel like every time we come out here, we have a conversation about the Rat Pack. Like at some point they come up because they are so Vegas.
I'm serious, man, and they were just not just so Vegas, but so cool.
So cool.
They were just all of that crew. Dean was my favorite one.
Dean's fly.
I swear, man, Dean was so cool. It was unbelievable. I got so much out of it. Like I say, for me being out here, I always go back to the story. Me and my brother was at the MGM Grand, and we were sitting at one of the restaurants eating some dinner. And my brother has always been a Frankie Valli fan. Since we were kids, he always loved that music. And we're sitting there eating, and my brother goes, man, I wonder where Frankie Valli is right now. And we look literally to our right, and Frankie Valli is sitting right there. Right? And my brother, we go, you got to be kidding me. This God, this got to be God, right? So we actually meet him, and he invited us to his show that night, and we go to see Frankie Valli here in Vegas with Sherry Martell and Frankie Valli saying, Sherry, It was like, oh, man, you got to be kidding me, right? Only once in a lifetime something like that could ever happen to someone like me. And I tell you, man, this has been a magical, magical city for me. So I'm just so happy being out here with my man Brad Gilmore. My main man, Brad Gilmore.
That's right. You know, I wanted to bring up before we went to break initially about the odds. So we're talking about Canelo Alvarez, Jermell Charlo going down.
Yeah.
Saturday night from the T-Mobile. Canelo's a heavy favorite, man. He's a heavy favorite. He's coming in at minus 420, and the odds makers at CBS Sports have him at an 80.77% chance of taking this thing, whereas Jermell is at 23.8%. Now, that's not nothing, but it's definitely not 50-50.
Well, I'm going to go drop a couple of hundred down on this one.
You feeling it?
I think I am. I think I'm going to go put down a little wager. I don't encourage betting or anything like that. But this one, I don't think I can let it up. I really think the fight is much, much closer than that. And the reason I feel like that is because the guys that Canelo Alvarez has been fighting while being a part of the zone, I feel like it was like Rocky Balboa with Mick, okay? Mick was like, no, those guys wasn't bums. There wasn't setups. But they wasn't like this guy. This guy eat you alive, Rock. He'll knock you tomorrow, Rock. That's Charlo. I think he's that different animal that I really don't think Canelo Alvarez has faced in quite some time. And the thing is, when I look at Jermell Charlo also, unlike when Canelo Alvarez fought Floyd Mayweather as a kid, having all that talent, and then fighting Floyd, and Floyd made him look like a kid. If you can go back and remember how that fight went, I remember I was at one of the bars. I can't remember what city I was in, but I watched Floyd go out there like the Matrix, and Canelo couldn't touch him. It was flawless, a flawless night. Unlike Canelo Alvarez getting that big shot at the top spot, Charlo is a grown man.
Grown.
He's faced adversity. He's gone through the trenches. And you remember I said a long time ago that I wasn't convinced by the Charlo brothers.
I remember.
I said, man, these guys, they ain't the real deal. They gonna be fly by nights. They gonna be here today, and they gonna be gone tomorrow. And boom, win after win after win after win, fight after fight. No matter who you put them in there with. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no way people thought Jermell Charlo was gonna stop Brian Castano in the second fight. No way. And if you go back and look at the odds on that one, it was probably an even fight, going into that fight. But one thing that Jermell Charlo brought that second fight was that kill or be killed mentality.
Yeah.
He said, you're going to have to knock me out or I'm going to knock you out. It wasn't that first fight where he was passive in certain areas, where he was, reluctant to throw that shot or anything like that. He went out there seek and destroy, and he didn't just stop Brian Castano. He stopped him with a body shot. Boom! Oh, my God, man. When you get hit with that shot right there, it's debilitating. It takes you to a place to where you go, man, I've never felt this before. Your brain is saying one thing, but your body is saying something totally different. So for me, I see this fight being a whole lot closer than the odds makers. And normally I'm right on this.
Now, I will give you this, that typically when we make these ventures out to Las Vegas, I think all but one you've nailed right on the head, and one of them you were just picking, I think, to be different. I was
picking for the heart.
You're Luis King Kong Ortiz.
Yeah, I was going with my heart on that one.
Yeah.
I wanted King Kong to really win that fight, but that was all heart. That was all hard.
So you knew what was going down
with
Deontay Wilder. So I will say I tend to side with you on this, but however, I want you to break it down for me stylistically like you did for Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence this last time. When you were there, I think you did Sean Porter's show or something when we were here, and you talked about it on the Hall of Fame, is you saw exactly how, almost to the letter in the round, how it was going to play out with Errol and how it was going to play out with Terrence. How do you see this one playing out?
Man, it's really, really hard to predict, lay out how this fight is going to happen just because Canelo Alvarez is such a good fighter. I mean, everything I'm saying about Canelo, don't get me wrong. This dude, he's the real deal. I was watching some of the press conferences and Charlo say, "I'm that lion, man. I'm the lion." And Canelo say, I'll be there, and I'm gonna. I don't know what line, I can think of that, but I'm that lion. I mean, now I don't know what animal to think of, but I'm that animal. No, Canelo Alvarez is a beast, man. To beat him, you're gonna have to really beat him convincingly because he's a guy that can, outpoint you. I always go back to the Irish-Landy Lara fight against Canelo Alvarez, and I really think Irish-Landy Lara outboxed Canelo Alvarez that fight. He made him look bad in a whole lot of ways, even though they gave Canelo Alvarez the number. They gave him the nod. It was a split decision. They gave him the nod, but I really feel like Charlo is going to have to stay on his toes. He's going to have to use his jab. He's going to have to be as elusive as he possibly can be. And when that window of opportunity opens, he's going to have to take it. And if he takes that window and that window open up a little bit wider, he needs to jump all the way through it very, very quickly. That's the way I see this fight happening.
Yeah. I can see it happening that way too, BT.
Yeah. So, I'm the analyst. I'm the guy that pretty much tell you guys how it's going to go. And I'm telling you, that's how it's going. I don't know how it's going to go, but it's going to go something like that. Hey, guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
ESPN 975.com on the Chase Long.
Excuse me. Excuse me. What?
This is the Hall of Fame on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We're in New York Hotel and Casino right now getting ready for the biggest fight perhaps of the year, Jermell Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez for middleweight supremacy. Who's going to be the undisputed in the four-belt era? Live on pay-per-view Saturday night. It's going to be going down at the T-Mobile Arena, and I cannot wait. Oh, man, I love that little Sherry Baby there. That's little Frankie Valli bringing us back. Because we're in Vegas, man. We're in Vegas getting ready to get hyped. And I tell you, man, I'm always hyped. Who we going to run into out here in Vegas?
You never know.
We haven't ran into any of the major players. We just got here. We just landed a couple hours ago. So we haven't had a chance to really work the city properly. But I'm wondering who we're going to run into.
Who knows? Who knows who we're going to run into? We always run into somebody out here. People who know us also know where we're going to be later on this evening as well. And some people who know us know what we're going to be tomorrow as well. We're going to be doing a special meet and greet. Booker, you can come meet and greet him tomorrow. From 2 to 3. 2 to 3. At the Planet 13 out here in Las Vegas. Now, also.
And listen to the podcast from
1 to 2.
1 to 2.
Come
check it because it's going to be some. We going raw on the podcast. Okay, guys? We're going raw in Vegas. You're going to get a whole lot of different spices. I'm talking about that Cholula Green, man. It's going to be hot.
You know what? I also got to give a shout to somebody who is a fan of the show. Got to give a shout out to my new favorite flight attendant, Matthew, who was there on the United flight and hooked me up back there. Even though Booker was treated like royalty, I had a piece of royalty. So shout out to Matthew.
I made sure they took care of you, man. I say, hey, take care of my boy. He in the back there somewhere. Had me searching for him.
I know you were all the way.
There he is over there. I looked at the guy, hair. He had a hairline kind of like Brad's. No, that's not him. You know, but definitely, man, I appreciate you not taking care of him.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Now, BT, obviously we're here in Las Vegas. Obviously, we're going to be breaking down everything from the fight. We'll be doing the show live here again from New York tomorrow night at a different time. But, people in the city are getting us earlier than normal. So a shout-out to any new listeners who are listening to us live right now. Have never tuned into the Hall of Fame during your drive time hours here on ESPN 97.5, 92.5. We surely do appreciate you stopping by for a moment. But, Book, it wouldn't be the Hall of Fame if we didn't talk a little bit of pro wrestling.
Yes.
And Saturday, you're going to be leaving Las Vegas, going to La La Land, and then to Bakersfield for No Mercy, which for wrestling fans my age was the best video game WWE came out with for the N64. WWF No Mercy was phenomenal game. Phenomenal game. That's when back in the day, so you were living it at the time. But people my age, you would have it was WCW Revenge.
I still got the video game.
You got WCW Revenge?
No Mercy.
Oh, you got No Mercy.
I got them all.
You got them even though that was the competition?
Yeah. I was a gamer, man. I was a gamer, so I got every video game from back in the day. Still, like in this big crate at the house.
Do you really?
Yeah. Seriously.
Oh, that's probably worth something because we would go from WCW Revenge to WWF No Mercy, and then I think there was a WCW versus NWO game. What was that one called? There was Revenge. What was the other one?
You know what? I'm not sure, but the one I liked the best was WCW versus The World.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
That was the best one.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
That was the best one right there because they had characters like me in it, but the name would be Booker K. Something like that. And he would look like me, and he would do all of my moves. But it was the coolest game. They had all the Japanese wrestlers in there and everything. So it was like one of the coolest games I ever played coming up.
Yes, but WWF, no. So I was thinking WCW versus NWO World Tour. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I got that one too.
That one and Revenge were my WCW games. But going back to No Mercy is going down Saturday. A lot of big matches that are going to be on that card. There's three that I want to highlight in particular. Let's start with the one that's most recently made. Dirty Dom Mysterio is going to be defending that NXT North American Championship against your boy, Trick Williams.
Yes.
Whoop that Trick, get him, BT.
No, man, I'm glad for Trick getting his time in the sun here for a second. One thing about Trick, the fans love him. He's got that. He's got a lot of charisma. He's got that it factor. He's one of those guys you want to see do well. He's just a good dude. And I don't know, man. If Trick can go out there and pull it off against Dominic, he definitely got the weight advantage, size advantage. I wouldn't say the speed advantage, but you don't need that when you can land that one big uppercut, that one knee shot. It can be over with real quick. So I don't know, man. It's definitely a great spot for Trick Williams to be in at this moment, breaking off, from the duo with Carmelo Hayes and people getting the chance to see him on his own doing his thing. I love it, man. Kind of like me when I broke off and finally had a chance to go out and shine. One thing about it, when you get that time to shine, you got to score, baby.
You got to.
Yeah.
You're getting handed the ball. And this now, and you actually have been in a similar situation like Trick because this was supposed to be Mustafa Ali versus Dirty Dom.
Yeah.
Ali gets his release. We wish him the best, obviously, that he lands on his feet somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or maybe back at the company someday.
He's
but he got his release. And this opened up an opportunity. It kind of reminds me of your TV title run. In a way.
Yeah. Opportunity knock. You got to be ready. I'm sure this wasn't something that Trick was preparing for or anything like that, but in this business, preparation is the only luck you're ever going to have. You got to stay ready in order to, be ready. That's just the way the game goes. So for Trick to be the guy to get the nod, let me know that somebody's thinking about him. So that right there is that chip in the game. So that chip means, hey, time to play it. I need to go out here and cash in, and hopefully he'll score on Saturday night.
Is that your biggest advice to him in this position? Just know this is a good moment for you? This is a big moment for you?
I always tell, young guys, don't think about anything other than going out there and making the fans feel a certain way. You win. You win if you do that. Win or lose. And I also tell them, winning is really, really cool. But losing is just part of the game. But make sure when you lose better than you win. Oh, man. You can't help but win when you do it that way. So I think Trick is he's one of my guys that, always, talking to me and, trying to seek a little bit of knowledge, getting some advice. And one thing about him, I appreciate that young dude, man. He always coming to me and asking me, hey, book this, book that. After he worked on Tuesday night, I got a phone call like after midnight. And I'm like, what the hell? But for me to have a hand in a lot of these young guys' world, man, it's humbling. It really is, and I appreciate being able to help them out and hopefully guide them in that right direction.
Now, the other match that I want to highlight is let's go on Trick Mello game here. Carmelo Hayes, the NXT champion, defending again against the guy who's just recently on the podcast, Ilya Dragunov. Ilya, by the way, I love that guy's entrance. When he just comes, waving his arms all around to the music. Yeah. I mean, he looks like somebody who you wouldn't want to cross in a dark alleyway. And Carmelo Hayes, he is him, right? I mean, this is a guy, when NXT 2.0 came around, a lot of us said, ooh, who's that? He could be something. Who is that guy? Yeah. And early on, we were believers in Carmelo, and now seeing him at the top of the mountain for the NXT brand. This is going to be a hell of a match, man, because you said the last time they went head-to-head, that was the best Carmelo Hayes that you have seen.
Yeah, Dragunov seems to bring it out of everybody that he gets in the ring with. He's a guy that, like we're talking to him on the show, you could tell he breathed this. He feels it. His passion is definitely striking. I always say Ilya Dragunov is looking to conduct his greatest symphony. And perhaps on Saturday night it might be his night, because I tell you, there isn't one guy in NXT that you can believe in more as champion, and that's Ilya Dragunov. That's taking nothing away from Carmelo Hayes or anything like that, taking nothing away from any of those guys on the roster, but they should listen to and hear what I'm talking about when I talk about the passion of one that can come out like Ilya Dragunov and connect with those fans only through just his passion alone. He doesn't have to say anything, just his in-ring work ethic totally takes you to another place when you watch him. And I say Ilya Dragunov is going to be one of those guys, 20 years from now, that a fan is going to come up to him at one of these autograph signings, and he's going to have a tear in his eye talking about a match that he watched with Ilya Dragunov and Gunther or whoever, back in, 2024. What, you know what I mean? I'm serious. So take heed to that kind of stuff, because that's what you really are striving for in this business, is to make those fans feel the ultimate rush, take them on the ultimate thrill ride. It's something that I always love doing, and when I watch Ilya, he definitely brings that. But on Saturday night, Carmelo Hayes, he's definitely going to have to shoot first and shoot quick, and he bet not miss, because things could be over with very, very quickly.
They absolutely could be, and that's why I'm really looking forward to NXT No Mercy going down, a premium live event on Peacock this Saturday night from Bakersfield, and BT will be live on the call.
That's the home of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Booker T, the Green Frog epic event, where I beat the hell out of Stone Cold Steve Austin, put him in the hospital for 6 weeks. After that, yes, a lot of people didn't see it. I mean, that's behind the scenes stuff. That's behind the scenes. Okay. That's the injuries that he walked away with. And one thing about he's still living with some of that beat down. But we'll talk about that on the other side. You're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around with me. Back in a minute.
ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Dude.
You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this? Who? Jack Burton. Me.
This is the Hall of Fame on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here, and we just doing it, man. Grinding all our lives out here in Vegas, man. Coming to you from New York hotel and casino, guys. Get ready for the big fight going down Saturday night. Jermell Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez. Oh, my God, man. It's for all the marbles, man. It's for the fight supremacy in the middleweight division. I mean, in the four-belt era. Who's going to walk away with all the gold, man? And not just all the gold, man. All the love, all the big money. You know what? I heard this reporter say after the George Foreman Muhammad Ali fight, and it's true. That's why we got to go out there. The city got to pull together. We got to take Jermell Charlo over the finish line. We know he's gonna do it. But I remember this reporter when George Foreman was leaving after he came in with an entourage of about 12, and then he was leaving. He had maybe 2 people around him, and I remember the commentator saying that, look at George there, not a lot of people around him. Nobody mobs a beaten champion.
What a line.
My God.
What a line.
Man. It's going to be good, guys. Going down live on pay-per-view, going down to T-Mobile Arena. Cannot wait, man. Cannot wait.
Well, the thing about this fight, too, is, okay, the last one we were talking about Arrow and Terrence, and one of them had to lose, but at that point it was still hypothetical in some ways because neither one of them ever had lost to that point. We didn't know what their real weakness was going to be exactly. With this fight, we've seen Canelo fall before. Yes, one of them was to one of the greatest boxers in the history of the game, and well before Canelo was in what you would call his prime of his career. But there is a game plan of that. If you were Jermell, how much do you watch the fights that he lost versus the fights that he won when you're studying game tape?
I really don't think it's I think it's only one fight that he can really watch and study and take something away from it with Canelo. I really don't. You can't take away anything from the Bivol fight because Bivol was just such a bigger fighter. You can't take anything away from the Floyd Mayweather fight just because I think Canelo was like 20.
He's a different person.
He's a kid. He was a kid. I think the one and only fight you could take something away from is Arislan Lara. That's the one fight where blueprint was created for the fighter that was going to beat Canelo next. And that was, you got to understand, though, Arislan Lara is one of the best defensive boxers perhaps in the history of boxing, like a Floyd Mayweather. I mean, you can't hit this guy. You can't knock him out. You can't beat him like that. You can beat him, on points and on stamina, perhaps. But this guy is just that good. And I think that's the one and only fight you can really take something away from and say, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do this for 12 rounds. Let's not think about knocking him out. If the knockout comes, it's going to come. But let's think about taking Canelo 12 rounds and make sure we beat him convincingly, at least 8 out of that 12.
Yeah. I cannot wait to see Jermell go out there and just do it one time for the city. You know, like, what the shot around the world would be? Not if, when Jermell just hits that perfect right hand right on the chin. You know what I mean? And we see the legs of Canelo Alvarez go non-existent, right? And he gives us that Manny Pacquiao. You remember when Manny got when he was fighting? Who was he fighting when he got dropped? It was Marquez.
Yeah.
When he was fighting Marquez, he just got out, put to sleep. You saw his soul leave his body.
Yeah.
Right, just like Luis King Kong Ortiz
Yeah.
and Deontay Wilder. Remember when we saw the spirit of Luis King Kong Ortiz leave for just a moment, hover in the air before he came to.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, that was a godly moment.
That was
right
a
there.
godly moment.
Yeah,
That man
yeah.
met his
It's like he
maker
got
for a
hit
moment.
with a shovel or something. That's how it sounded.
Bam! Right. I mean,
it was like literally, it was like a firecracker or something. One of those big
I'll
black
never
cats. One
forget
of those
that.
big black cats went off, and they're everybody looking around like JFK moment or something.
He was a JFK. And remember, he hit him on the forehead.
Yeah.
He didn't even hit him on the chin or catch the temple.
His brain just shook. It was a moment, man.
It was a moment.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that moment for Jermell
Yeah.
Saturday at the T-Mobile. Now, I have nothing against Canelo. I think Canelo's incredible.
Yeah.
He's, as you would characterize him, extraordinary.
He is. He really is.
He's a phenomenal fighter.
Yeah.
And that's why when Jermell drops him, it's going to make it all that much more sweet.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to take a hulking effort.
It is.
To go out and beat Canelo Alvarez because he's been nothing but impeccable his whole career. I always say the loss to Floyd Mayweather, he took, I feel like he took more information from that fight than he ever could have, even if he would have won that fight. He really did, because he got schooled to the point to where he knew he had to be a much better fighter if he was going to fight at that level. And from that point on, Canelo Alvarez went on a run. But the fighters that Canelo Alvarez fought up until Bivol, I really thought that he was getting almost like a pass. He was padding his wallet. He was padding his stats. But this fight right here against Jermell Charlo, a guy that's in his prime, and the fighter's mentality, like I said, is different than you and I. This is something that this guy, both of these guys, been doing since they were kids, and I'm sure they have thought about this since they were in the amateurs, and now they're both in the pros at the top of their divisions, and now we got to fight each other. But the one thing is, Canelo, he haven't been chasing Charlo. Charlo, this is something that he has been looking for and wanting his whole life and whole career, and now it's about to happen. Will he make it come to fruition by going out there and cashing in the big ticket and changing his whole life? This is, like you say, generational wealth for the rest of your life. This is that moment where he separate himself, not just from everybody in the division, but everybody in the boxing world. This right here will make him literally Houston's finest if he can go out there, even though he's already Houston's finest.
Oh, he's already a member of the H.
But if he can go out there and pull this off right here, he would be what I would call the champion of champions.
Absolutely, and we cannot wait to see it go down again. Put your bets in now if you want to rock with the H. BetMGM, I guess, is the app that you could do that from. We're not getting paid by them, but I just gave them a little shout out anyway.
I'm going there.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And again, you can catch BT on the Peacock on Saturday for No Mercy. One more thing on No Mercy I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
There was one more match that we had to talk about.
Better do it quick.
NXT Women's Championship. Becky Lynch, the rematch against Tiffany Stratton. Will Tiffany go to the Nebula again and become the NXT Women's Champion? And can she beat the man, or will the man stand tall?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, since the signing of Jade Cargill, I'm sure Becky Lynch's attention is not going to be 100% focused in Bakersfield. I'm sure she's thinking about what is Jade Cargill doing here, and when is she going to do it? So for Becky Lynch, she's going to be thinking about this matchup with Tiffany in a totally different way than she did that last matchup, as well as we don't know if Jade Cargill might. Oh my God, man! I don't want to throw nothing out there or anything like that. But I tell you this: Tiffany Stratton versus the man, Becky Lynch. It's going to be an awesome match. Match one was good. I can only imagine what this match is going to be like. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing play out. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm looking forward to seeing that the most beautiful swanton that we've ever seen before in our lives. I'm looking forward to seeing the most beautiful moonsault that we've ever seen in our lives. But we might see that manhandle slam as well. So I can call it.
We're going to see. I know we only have a couple minutes left, but let me just get your reaction because the news became official. It's something we speculated on for quite some time. Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill is officially a member of the WWE roster. What do you think about Jade signing, and what can we expect to see from her in WWE?
I thought you was talking about CM Punk.
No.
Oh, no. I feel like I said it a long time ago. I said Jade Cargill has WWE written all over her. She's a mega star. She's a superstar. And right now she's about to go on that journey of Jade, about to turn everything green. I'm talking about green like money, man. I'm talking about that paper, baby. Oh, yes. So I'm so glad Jade Cargill is a part of the WWE family. But it's time to get up out of here, man.
It is.
Is it time?
I think it's just
we
about
getting
time.
Close, right? We're getting close, right?
Yeah, we're getting real close. And you know what? Just so I can piggyback off what you were saying real quick with Jade, I think that this is one of the most important signings WWE's made in quite some time. Maybe since Cody Rhodes, maybe even before that. Yeah. She's going to be the next big transcendent star in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Mark my word.
There's only one left. Hey, but we got to get up out of here, man. We got to get up out of here. But I want to thank everybody.
Tampering.
I want to thank everybody for stepping inside the Hall of Fame today. Give you champagne wishes and caviar dreams. And I always want to thank my man Brad Gilmore for the heavy lifting. You know, he did about 5 pounds in the gym today. But we got to get out of here until next time. She's inside the Hall of Fame. We love you, and we out.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
The Ed Milet Show showcases the greatest peak performers sharing their journey, knowledge, and thought leadership.
This is one of the all-time best pieces of advice ever given on the show.
Actor Rainn Wilson. The number one thing that psychologists point to with young people of why they are struggling so much in this mental health epidemic is they don't have resilience. So how do you build resilience if you don't understand suffering itself?
The Ed Milet Show is available on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Hi there. Sorry for the interruption, but are you enjoying this show on Google Podcasts? You should know that the Google Podcasts app is going away this spring. That's right, going away, gone as in no longer available. You can still enjoy this show elsewhere though. Try out Spotify or Amazon Music, or maybe TuneIn is more your style. Whatever app you switch to, be sure to follow so you never miss the next episode. And thanks for listening, wherever you listen.